I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Welcome to my channel.
7 years ago, I made a barn quilt. I painted it on to some exterior plywood. I primed it and used good quality outdoor paint. And as you can see here, it has not held up to the elements very well. I knew I wanted to replace the barn quilt, but I wanted the new one to last longer. So I set about researching the best materials to use for the barn quilts. And I joined this Facebook group. It's called Barn Quilt Addicts. There's a lot of really helpful people on there. And what I decided to use after spending a lot of time reading other posts was to use MDO plywood. It comes highly recommended from barn quilt painters, and it says it resists exterior weathering and it's ideal for signs. The MDO board comes in 4 foot by 8 foot panels.
And it's back in with the building supplies with the plywood.
My goal for this project is to make a 6x6 barn quilt for a bigger shed and a 4x4 barn quilt to replace the one that I previously made. And then I'm going to end up with some smaller pieces of the MDO board left over, and I'm going to make some 3 2x2s.
After the boards were cut, we used some exterior primer and primed the boards on all sides, even the edges, with 2 coats.
I have this picture of the barn quilt that I want to make. So I took the picture and I cropped it. You could crop it in any photo editing software. If you're on a Mac, you could use Preview. It's easy to use and it comes preloaded on the Mac. And now that the photo is cropped, I'm going to import it into my word processor. I'm using Pages, but most any word processor will work for this. And so what I want to do is I want to shrink it until it's about a 4x4, 4 inches by 4 inches, because I'm going to make my barn quilt 4 foot by 4 foot. So that will make it easy for me to measure the areas on here and then transfer that measurement to my wood. 1 inch will be equal to 1 foot. So once I get it the right size, I'm just going to print it and then I will draw the design on the quilt. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I drew the design on for the 4x4 quilt. My quilt is going to be in 2 separate pieces of MDO plywood because of the way I am using the 2 different sheets, but if you were just buying a sheet and making a 4x4, you could easily just make 1 cut on the plywood and you wouldn't have these 2 sheets like I do.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this picture and I'm going to measure. So it's 4 inches by 4 inches and my board is 4 foot by 4 foot. So for every inch on here, it's going to be translate to a foot on my board. So the first thing I'm going to draw is my cross in the middle. So if 1 inch on here translates to a foot has 12 inches, so every 1/4 inch would translate to 3 inches. Cross is 3/4 of an inch wide, so that's going to be 9 inches. So I have 3/4 inches equals 9 inches. And then I'm going to come over, so this would be 12 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches. And this is the 48. So if this is right in the center and this is 48 inches and this part here is 9 inches, I can subtract 48 minus 9, so that's 39 inches, and then I'm going to divide that by 2 to figure out how far over to go before I start. So that's going to be 1, 2 goes into 19, 9 times and a half. So I'm going to start over 19.5 inches from either side and draw a mark there. And then I'll do that on the other end as well. And then I'm going to draw a line connecting my marks. And then I'll do the same thing going across. I'll measure the 19.5 inches. So now I have this middle cross drawn. And now I'm going to draw this big square around the cross. So that also is 3/4 of an inch, so it's going to be 9 inches. So I'm going to come out 9 inches from here. And then I know it will come out 9 inches on either side. So draw that line. Going to make these dividing lines here. So each one of these little squares is 3 inches. So I'm going to divide this 9 up into 3-inch segments. And then I'll do the same thing on the other 3 sides. Okay, and then lastly, I need to draw these diagonal lines. So from this line here, I need to come over another 9 inches. And I'll make a mark. And then I'll do the same over here. Mark 9 inches. And then that goes from this corner here to there on the board. Okay, then the last thing I need to draw is this line here. I'm going to envision a line from this corner here to the corner of my board. And then it's a little bit more than 3/4, but less than an inch. So 3/4 would be 9 inches and this would be 12 inches. So I'm going to go with around 10 inches. And I'm just going to make a mark there at 10 inches from the corner. And then I will draw lines to connect that to this line. So it is all drawn now. So now I want to label each one of the sections what color it should be. So I'm gonna write BR for brown. The corner is cream, and this is tan, and this is red. And so this is cream, 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 tan, 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 and this is red. So this is tan, red, tan. So now that it's all labeled, I can start painting. I am using a exterior paint. I'm using Benjamin Moore, and I have Hearthstone Brown, Heritage Red, Simply White, a tan that was in the, it says on there LP tan, but it was a custom color match and it was in the mismatched paint, so I got it at a reduced rate. That is a good place to look for paints for this, in the mismatched paints. Just make sure you get an exterior quality paint. So to paint this, you can tape off the areas and use some painting tape, or you can just use a brush and carefully paint each section. I like to pick one color and paint it, the 2 or 3 coats, whatever it needs to cover, and then move on to a different color. So I'm going to start with brown.
When I got about halfway done, I pushed the boards together and I realized that you could see a little bit of line of white in the middle there where the 2 boards meet. So I painted the edge of the 2 middles to match the design.
When I get done painting, I am going to paint a couple coats of exterior paint. I'll just pick one of the colors that I have a lot extra of and paint it on all of the edges and the back to make sure that it has a good solid coat of protection against the weather.
We used these screws to hang the barn quilt.
I hope you found that helpful. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.